Hi, my name is Chance Osmansky, and this is my final project. I decided to make a push golf cart for my project. There are roughly 47 total parts in my project and roughly 25 unique parts. And as you can see, I definitely had a couple of changes during the process, as I ran into a few hurdles with being able to have it fold in certain areas or do certain things to certain parts that just ended up having to be changed or cut out. This is the isometric view of my final project. These are all the parts and mates that went into making my push golf cart. As you can see, I had to make a lot of parts, and it took a lot of mates to get those to work out. For some of the mates, I even had to create planes or do funky stuff in order to get them to line up how I wanted to. This is a pin I made for the front wheel. I used a loft in order to get it to round out on each of the sides so that it would look nicer. I created a variety of different planes in order to have them basically condensed towards the edges. This is what that looks like when put onto the project itself. Although probably a little unnecessary, I chose to make these chrome stainless steel rims, and I used a revolve in order to make the wheel or the rim, and then I used a circular pattern to make all the cuts on the outside. This is the part that I have the back wheels on. I used a thread on the end there so that I could attach a nut of some sort to lock the wheels in, as well as the loft in order to make it nicer in the front there. I also used a sweep in order to make the main bend there, and then finally ended up using a shell in order to shell everything out to try and make it all lighter. These are the tires that I ended up making. I ended up attaching to the rims, obviously. As you can see, I added a little bit of tread onto them, hopefully giving them a little bit of traction. But overall, I just used a giant revolve to make the tire itself, and then just cut out the middle part, and then just did a little bit of a cut extrude in order to get that little indentation where I'm going to put the rims. And then as you can see, I ended up using rubber as the final material for that tire. This piece was designed to stop the back from basically folding over onto itself. I kind of came to the conclusion that this part wasn't really needed after the fact. If I could go back and redo it, I probably would, but this was probably the hardest part I had to make, so this is why I'm showing it off. I had to make a variety of different planes in order to get all the cuts to line up, and just getting all the measurements lined up to the frame itself and to where it would lock into the other pieces so it doesn't fold was just really hard. And then this is just a little example of how the top ends up folding into itself. That piece that I showed in the last little clip there, might be able to see on the backside there. So when I pull this bottom part back and forward, hopefully it wouldn't be able to collapse onto itself with that piece blocking it there.